Hey everybody, East Texas Trucker here. I know you guys have been waiting to hear what I've got going on over these past few weeks. Well, I'm happy to say that I've officially gotten through my first few weeks as an owner-operator. Let's get into it. So, if you guys got a chance to see my short little video clip that I posted a few weeks ago, I do have a new truck that I'm running as an owner-operator. It is a Mack. It's a 2016 Mack Pinnacle. It's gray. It's kind of got that mid-roof style like roof, but then it raises up and comes to full sleeper size in the bunk. I'll show a picture of it here so you guys can get an idea of what I'm talking about if you didn't see the video. But it's got the Mack MP8 engine in it. It's a 10-speed Eaton transmission, so that's been fun getting to drive. And it is got 467,000 miles on it when I got it, and I've gotten a really good deal on it, really great setup. So I've been driving this truck for about, I'd say, almost 3 weeks now, and I really enjoyed it. And it had a little I needed some time to adjust to it, but it's a good truck. It's a solid truck. It's not the most comfortable truck, compared to some of those OTR trucks that you see in big fleets, like the Freightliner Cascadias, Internationals, the typical OTR trucks you see. It's not necessarily built like those are with all the creature comforts, but it has everything you need really to get by on the road. And honestly, I'm just so happy to be in my own truck now as an owner-operator that I can look past some of the lack of creature comforts that it doesn't have to I'm just happy to be in it, man. I'm in the game, so it's a start, right? So to me, what's more important starting out as an owner-operator is that you can run your business, that you can drive, and you can get your loads delivered on time and not have to be worried that the truck's going to break down. And is this part in good condition? That was my main concern. I wanted to get in a truck that I knew I could run in and get rolling and make money and not have to constantly stop for worry about major repairs on the road. I wanted to get those things taken care of. So I did have a couple of things that I had to do maintenance-wise for this truck getting into it, but it was pretty much all just basic wear and tear and maintenance that you would do on a truck anyway, that I wanted to get done. Some of it needed to really get done. Some of it just for peace of mind, like you just want to get some things done so you don't have to worry about replacing them later on the road, right? It's more expensive. So I did get some maintenance items taken care of. I've gotten new brake drums, brake pads, and that whole assembly there replaced. Fresh brakes on it. The brake drums, it turned out, were pretty worn on it, so it's a good thing I got those done. I got all new tread on it. Got all new drives on here. Yokohama TY 517s, but they were retreads, and they were pretty old. The original sidewalls were from 2015, so they were cracking and bulging a bit. Also got some new airbags in, cab airbags, new cab shocks. I did run some of the I ran the tires that were on the truck when I got it for about 2 weeks, and it turned out they're just too old, and they're cracking and starting to bulge on the sidewall a little bit. And they were retreads. They had plenty of tread on there, but the base tire, the sidewall, whatever, what turned out was a 2015 tire. So it was time for them to get changed out, and so I got some nice new tread on there, some Yokohama TY 517, so pretty good tires. I got those for like install with the tires. Got those for $4,000, a little under $4,000. So pretty pricey, but I want to get good tires on here. I'm starting out. I want to start things out right. I'm not gonna go cheap and get like double coin or something. So got some good tires on there. And then what else? What else did I do? Well, of course, fluid changes. Got the oil changed. The filters were changed out. Greased everything up on all the grease certs. What else was there? Oh yeah, so suspension components. This truck had the original cab shocks on there, and they were totally just worn out, like kind of rusted around the bushing, like seal area where it mounts to the bottom part. Totally worn out, so they were just honestly weren't really doing anything. So got those replaced, cab shocks, cab airbags, and that helped a lot with the ride quality. And then I also got the steer shocks replaced, and it actually, on the truck, it said it was replaced in, I think, March or April of 2019. And I think they say you're supposed to replace the shocks every year or something like that, right? But who really does that except for people that own their truck and are trying to take care of it. So these were on here for like almost 3 years, and it turned out the bolts were already seized on the bottom part on the steer shocks, and they had to be cut out along with the cab shocks as well, which they were on there for 5 years, so that's kind of to be expected. But anyway, so got some important maintenance items taken care of on this truck to set up myself for success starting out. So I'm glad I got those things done. I've had peace of mind as I've been driving these last few weeks starting out, and I've gotten to focus on the most important thing, and that's the driving part and getting the appointments done on time, delivering and picking up on time, and then managing some of the new stuff that I'm having to take on and learn as an owner operator. There's a lot of new stuff, right? So that is where I'm at right now. So let's get on to the topic of the carrier. Obviously, I'm not running for myself. I didn't get my own authority starting out. I only have 2 years of experience with my CDL, and all of that was as a company driver. So I decided it would be smart to lease onto a carrier, somebody who knows their stuff, who has a proven track record with bringing on other drivers that are new owner operators, and that's why I decided to lease on to a carrier that some of you may know already if you've watched any of the live streams or know of this channel, but I am leased on to DIY Semis carrier. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about some things with the carrier to protect the interests of the carrier, and you guys know the drill. But it is an 80-20 split carrier. I don't own or pay for the trailer or the maintenance. I deal with truck stuff and insurance, and so there's variable costs that I have that some of you may or may not have, and everybody's carrier is different, so we won't go into too much detail into that, but it's a good carrier, and I think I'm really set up for success here to do well. So it's been a while since my last video. Where have I been running these last few weeks since I left my last company? Well, I've been all over the place, and So I've got a little written report here of where I've been going over the last few weeks, and I'd like to kind of go over some of the loads that I've done with you guys. Now, for the time being, I'm not going to discuss the Raycon information, the shippers. I'm not gonna talk about the specific shippers at this time, or what the load is paying. It seems like right now we're kind of in a tough market, and there's a lot of contention and discussion on, are we, is freight rates, going down, and should you be hauling freight below this amount per mile, or should you not? So I'm just going to avoid talking about that for now. I still think there's a lot to discuss there, and for the time being, that's not what I really want to talk about on my channel. Maybe later on when I get more experienced and can add more to the discussion there. But right now I'm a new owner operator, so I'm kind of just trying to learn right now. So right now, I'm just going to talk about where I'm going. Okay, so my first load I started on late March. Started on the 25th. That was a Friday. I picked up in Wisconsin and headed down to Shreveport, Louisiana, to get home from my first load and kind of get everything loaded up in the truck and get set up for the next couple of weeks. So that load was a load of cheese and butter. It was I think 34. Yeah, it was 34 continuous. Pretty relatively easy load. Running down was it 55 or 57 south, all the way down. Pretty direct. It was I think 950 miles normally. That's about what it would be. But I actually went out of route quite a bit on that trip, adding a few hundred miles to that, because I needed to stop by the 4-state trucks in Joplin to get some supplies. I had to get a new mattress for this truck. Needed something a little more comfortable. You guys know me, I very much value my sleep. So I got a nice new mattress. I got some new mud flaps and a couple other supplies to get started out in the truck, and then headed on to my delivery there in Shreveport. That was a pretty interesting receiver. It was kind of tight, and for my first delivery, and just driving the manual here for a couple days, and I haven't driven a manual really much for the last 2 years, except when I was training. But so that was a good challenge to start out, and it was one of those receivers where they have to have everyone come in one by one, and you have to load or get the trucks into the door one by one, and then when they finish loading everybody, the far end truck has to pull out first and then go in succession, because it's so tight, and everyone's tandems are slid all the way back. You won't be able to get out. It's like on a city street. You guys know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so that was interesting. Everything went smoothly, it went well. So I headed home for a few days, got everything stocked up in the truck, and then hit the road again. Okay, so I spent a few days at the house, then got everything in there. I'm ready to go. First place to get out of the house, I live in East Texas, so my first load out was in Sulphur Springs, Texas, kind of out in the middle of nowhere in northeast Texas area, kind of. Got a load of cheese and other stuff, just a bunch of different dairy products, and that was a continuous at 35 degrees. It weighed 42,000 pounds, and it was going to Springfield, Missouri. So it was a pretty short run, but when you live in an area that isn't super great for certain types of freight, you just got to take something to get out, so to a better market. So that's what I did, and that load delivered pretty early in the morning, if I remember right. It was like 6 a.m. delivery. So I had to get up there and shut down and kind of do a split sleeper, and then crawl my way up over to the shipper because I parked right next to it to be able to deliver on time. But that all went smoothly. That drive up is kind of an interesting one. If any of you guys ever drive in the East Texas area and head north to the Missouri, kind of Kansas area, there's a couple of different routes you can take. You can take US 69, which has been under construction for the last year and a half or so, and there's a lot of slow traffic through there, and heading up through the Three Nations Turnpike, I think is what it's called, that goes north through Oklahoma, kind of through the mountains, the Ouachita Mountains. So you can take that all the way up to Tulsa to Interstate 44 and take that up, and then you're paying about $50 in tolls. So you can do that if you're willing to pay the tolls. If you don't want to pay tolls at all, you can take US 259, which kind of goes north through some flat area, and then as soon as you get in Oklahoma, you get into the Ouachita Mountains, and it's very, very steep, mountainous area. I know some of y'all may not know that, but southeastern Oklahoma gets quite mountainous and hilly, and it's not an ideal route to go if you're heavy. So I didn't want to go that way, even though it would be no tolls. In my opinion, you waste more fuel going that way than you save. So I decided to kind of split it in half. I went halfway up the Three Nations Turnpike, which I think I paid like 2 toll booths, which was like $16. And then I took US 69 up through McAllister, that area, and then got onto 44 around Big Cabin. So you kind of avoid some of the tolls. It takes around the same time, same mileage. It's a little slower, but it's not too bad. But anyway, on to the next one. Okay, so we're now looking at April 2nd for this next load that I'm picking up. And this is going to be my first, decently long load since coming out of the house. Picked up in Rogers, Arkansas, so I had to deadhead about 140 miles, give or take, down from Springfield, just down 44 and 49, not too bad. And I really liked this shipper that I picked up at. I got into town early. I got in about 5 hours before my pickup. I was scheduled to pick up at 2300, 11 o'clock at midnight, or around midnight, around that time. But I got into town 5 hours early, and they let me actually come in. And the way this shipper works is they let you drop your trailer in the facility. You drop it in like a drop yard. You set your reefer to whatever temp that they want. For me, it was -5, I think, -10, something like that, because it was frozen food. And then you can just bobtail out and leave, and then they'll call you when your load is ready. Or in my case, it turned out they were short product that day, and they said it was going to probably take more towards the end of the cutoff time, and just to come in the morning, like 5, 6 in the morning, whenever they get done. So it was perfect for me. I got to just go back, do a 10, and come back in the morning with a fresh clock, so that was nice. And this load was going all the way up to the northeast, so it was a decent run. It was like 1,400 miles-ish. I had a stop in Du Bois, Pennsylvania, if I'm saying that right. I'm not sure. So it was a 3-stop load. Second stop was in Falconer, New York. So some of you guys, I'm sure, are familiar with that area up there. I have not done a lot of driving in the Northeast. I've done some, but the some that I have done is like all on the major routes, so not really anything off the beaten path. But I had to take a state highway, I think it was 36 north out of Du Bois up to Falconer, and that was interesting. Very steep through the, I think it was Pocono Mountains, right through the, right next to the Allegheny River. That was a beautiful drive, but man, that was testing my abilities up to that point with shifting with the manual to get through those steep areas, but got through it just fine. So first stop delivery was, let's see, when was it? It would have been Monday, April 4th at 0300, so that went fine. And I think I parked there, to the Pilot down the road from the shipper there. Second stop was that same morning at 1100. Made it there just fine. It was a really nice place. They got me unloaded real quick. And then my last stop was actually in Buffalo, New York. So haven't been up there in a while. Actually, I don't think I've ever been up there in a truck. I've been there, you know, in a car. But got up to Buffalo, and that delivery was on Tuesday, April 5th. It was at 0700. And I parked that night at Jim's Truck and Travel Plaza, something like that, right off of Interstate 90 in the Cheektowaga area. And right when I was coming in there, turning right into that entrance, there's only one entrance to get in, as far as I know. And there's a giant freaking crater right there in the entrance. And you can't really see it until right when you're coming in. At least for a first time going there. It's kind of hidden behind, like, you know, light posts and stuff. So I literally didn't see it till I'm coming right on top of it, and I don't have any time to steer around it because it's so big, it blocks like the whole entrance. And I just braced for impact pretty much, and oh my gosh, it was so bad. Like, if I didn't have my seatbelt on, I probably would have fell out of my chair. Like, it was that crazy. I mean, just whoosh, whoosh, you know. It was crazy. So if you guys have never been to the Jim's Travel Plaza in Buffalo, New York, watch out when you're going in there. Okay? Just saying. You might cause some damage to your truck. I'm not even playing. Like, I when I got stopped there, I went and checked down every inch of my truck thinking something surely would have broken. It was that bad. And, you know, this is a pretty hardy truck. It's a Mack. I've got high pro tires on here on the steers right now. It has a pretty high ride height too. And I was still worried because it was that bad. No joke. So watch out, guys, if you're going there, okay? Anyway, so got all the 3 stops in this load delivered. Felt good to get a long 3-stopper delivered with no problems. The lumpers were really expensive on this one. I mean, crazy. I think it was basically $1,000 almost in lumpers. Now, that was also part of because on the last stop, one of the pallets had fallen down and broken out a little bit. And I think there was like 5 or 6 boxes from the pallet that fell on the ground, and then 3 of those were damaged that they rejected. But they charged an extra $190 for that one pallet. I'm sure you guys all know who I'm talking about. Capstone. Why do they charge so much? First, I didn't know. Their base charge, I think, for that load was $300 or $290, something like that. And I was looking at the receipt, and they break it down, all these restacking fees and all this and that, and I'm just thinking, like, why am I getting charged for you wanting to restack your pallets? I get you probably need to change how they're stacked to organize them, but why is that our problem? You ordered the product, you have it, you know, shipped to you. We didn't say, hey, stack all these pallets 6 feet high so we can make it harder on the receiver to unload the product. No, this is how they shipped it. This is how they ordered it. I don't understand why that is something that, you know, the driver potentially has to pay for now. I don't typically pay for my lumbers, at least so far. It's been covered partially by the carrier, and I think sometimes the shippers pay for it as part of the rate con, part of the load. So fortunately I didn't have to cover that myself, but I'm just thinking of like guys who are on their own authority and they have to pay that. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me, man. Like, how does it cost $500 to unload like 9 or 10 pallets? Like, I know those guys that are unloading that aren't even getting paid anywhere close to that for unloading it. So where is all that money going? You know, like, it's unloading a truck. You know, maybe somebody could elaborate on that for me. Okay, so everything went smoothly with that 3-stopper up to New York in the Northeast. Then I did my next load, picked up just down the road in Batavia. Nice little town. It was kind of cool to drive through. And that one was 42,500 pounds at 36 degrees continuous. I'm noticing that pretty much everybody wants continuous. You know, I don't know if it's really necessary for some of these, but it says it on the bills, you know, so what can you do? That one delivered the next day in Washington Courthouse in Ohio, Wednesday, April 6th at 1700. Everything went smoothly on that one that I can remember. I do remember I stopped at a Waffle House in Ohio there on Interstate 75 after I delivered that load. They had truck parking. It had about 6 spots, maybe 7. They were all like kind of those diagonal parking spots, and if you come in the way they want you to, you have to blindside into them, which is a little annoying. But I came in the back way and I just turned in and did like a straight line back and then kind of angled in. But not the greatest quality for truck parking, but you know what? If there's not much trucks there, it's actually not that bad. So I was able to get in there easily, and you know, not often you get to just walk in and have Waffle House when you park your truck for the night. So I enjoyed that. Anyway, so next picked up in Minster, Ohio, kind of off the beaten path a little bit. Picked up food products. That was on April 7th, Thursday, 1500. So if you've noticed, so far on these loads, I have quite a bit of time in between them for the most part. So it gives me, it's kind of helping me get started, I guess, without having to worry too much. Get some successful loads under my belt. But you're going to see that's going to start to change. Things are going to get a little tighter, as they should. You know, you can't expect to have all that extra time on every load. That one was 41,000 pounds at 36 degrees continuous. And this time I headed down to Salem, Virginia. I really haven't driven much in that area in my 2 years driving, so wasn't too familiar with the routes to get over there, so I just kind of took what my GPS suggested me, a couple different routes, and then I got up my atlas and looked as well. But I think I ended up taking 64 through Charleston or Charlestown, I can't remember. And man, that was some mountainous area. Man, that was just up and down and up and down and up and down, just shifting to get up the mountain, and then you're freaking just plowing down the on the back way. Like, you know, man, I would hate to live there and have to deal with that every day. But everything went fine with that one. Delivered Friday, April 8th. It's actually kind of nice. I had some downtime to stop and go see a movie and get a good steak dinner that night, so always enjoy that. Get a little time, get something nice. Picked up the next day in Mount Crawford, Virginia, which is just up the road. Yeah. At 1 o'clock the next day, April 9th. And that load was going up to West Jefferson, Ohio. This one was a load of creamer. Delivered the next day, April 10th, at basically 0600. Everything went good with that one. I did have to use split sleeper to get this one delivered on time because it took so long for them to get me loaded past my appointment that it kind of made it impossible to get there and do a 10 and go in and to the shipper. So had to do split sleeper on that one, but that's what it's for. And unfortunately, in the unloading process, they did spill one of the bottles of creamer, so had to go get a washout after that. But considering I went a little over a week without having to get a washout, that's not too terrible. So after that one, I was supposed to pick up another load that same morning or that afternoon of the same day at 1 o'clock, but I was just so dry on hours. Like, I'd already done split sleeper, so I couldn't get any hours back until later in the afternoon, like 3 o'clock. So that one had to be postponed to the next day. And so I ended up picking up my next load April 12th, Tuesday. And, oh, no, that's wrong. April 11th. Is that right? Yeah. Picked up at 0400 in the morning. There in Minster. And is that right? That might be wrong. No. It wasn't Minster. What I wrote down is wrong. It was in Tip City, I think. I might have those switched. I can't remember. Anyway, picked up at 0400. That one was heading up back to Wisconsin, and originally I was going to have enough time off if I was able to pick up on time the previous day to do a 34, but I wasn't, so only had one day off, which was Tuesday, April 12th. Got some work done on the truck, but I did have another load already pre-scheduled to pick up on April 13th, Wednesday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 1500. So, and that's the load I'm currently on, actually. So, that one picked up in Wisconsin. There's a load of beer heading down to, surprise, surprise, Las Vegas. So, as far as I know, don't really run out to this area too often with my carrier. But, it was offered to me. I was, I'm just kind of at the point now where I will run wherever the load's paying good. I'm not like super I won't run here, I don't want to run there, except for say maybe like New York City, because I really want to get some more time under my belt before I really go in places like that on this manual transmission. Still getting comfortable with that and kind of getting that down, but for the most part, if the load's paying good, I will go. And it turns out this load, they actually scheduled in a lot of extra time, so it worked out well. I need to do a 34, and so that's where I'm at right now. As of recording this video, it's Sunday, April 17th, Easter Sunday. I am doing a 34 here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and the load delivers tomorrow morning, April 18th. And then I'm going to be loading again here in Vegas and getting a load back up to Salt Lake City, and then hopefully head back east. It was actually kind of nice taking this load. It was unplanned, what I got to do, but I have family in a couple different parts of Utah, some in Salt Lake, some in St. George, which is pretty much at the border with Arizona in the southwestern corner. So I got to stop and see family in those places, which was really a nice added benefit. That's kind of something that's hard to put a price on, getting to spend quality time with family, and especially in the trucking industry, you take it where you can get it, because a lot of times there isn't a lot of time to head home, and especially when you're starting out like I am right now, and you're just trying to, you know, get some miles and get some loads under your belt, and get some, you know, experience running things for yourself. So that was nice. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know I didn't get this video out as fast as some of y'all would have liked to heard what was going on, and I hope you guys can understand it was just a lot to get done and take care of these last couple weeks, and I was just trying to focus on the trucking part mainly and getting my side of the deal done and get everything set up. So I hope you guys you know, are happy with what I put out. I know it's not, you know, all the juicy details that some of you guys like. I know a lot of you guys might want to know exactly what I'm making on the Raycons, but you know, it is what it is. Maybe we'll get more into that someday, but for now, we're just gonna stick with the purely trucking content stuff. Hopefully I'll be getting a dash cam installed in the truck soon, and then we can start doing some, I guess, live footage from stuff that I see on the road that records, you know, while I'm driving. So I won't have to like manually record it with my phone or anything. It'll just be done by the dash cam. So, but thank you guys again, and look forward to the next video, and I'll see you guys later down the line. Take care.